Karen breezed into the thrift store like she owned the place, her oversized tote swinging with self-importance. Her eyes landed on a dusty, forgotten MAGA cap, tossed in a bin labeled "Clearance, $1." She scoffed. Who even wears these anymore? But Karen wasn't one to overlook an opportunity. Later that night, while scrolling niche collector forums, she struck gold. A buyer, a MAGA memorabilia enthusiast, was offering $10,000 for an authentic cap with a story behind it. A light bulb flickered in Karen's mind. 10 grand could wipe out her credit card debt and finally get her that sleek espresso machine she'd been lusting after. The catch? She needed a story bold enough to match the price tag. And so, in a moment of sheer audacity, Karen devised a plan that made even her cringe. The next morning, she took her 6-year-old son, Tyler, to the local orphanage. The director blinked in disbelief when Karen declared, "I'm doing this for the greater good. A brighter future requires sacrifice. He'll understand someday." Tyler clung to her leg, confused but silent as she handed him over with the finesse of someone returning a library book. With her story secured, Karen met the collector in a dimly lit parking lot. She handed him the cap, and he handed her the cash. But the man, amused by her bizarre tale, couldn't resist asking, "You actually ditched your kid for this?" Karen smiled. "A visionary move," she replied smugly. The collector, however, had other plans. He recorded the exchange and posted it online, captioning it, "Karen sells her soul and kid for MAGA merch." Within hours, the video exploded. The hashtags #MAGAParent and #Capgate trended across social media. Some called her heartless, others turned her into a walking meme. One viral comment read, "Tyler deserves better, but Karen deserves an Oscar for villainy." Karen, basking in the attention, thought she'd won. Little did she know the internet and karma were just getting started. Karen woke up to chaos. Her phone buzzed relentlessly, screen flooded with texts, missed calls, and endless notifications. She squinted at the first message. "Congrats, MAGA Mom, you're trending." Confused, she opened Twitter. There it was, her face plastered everywhere, holding the infamous cap like it was a trophy. The hashtags? #MAGAParentFail. #Karen does. It again, and most painfully. Poor Tyler. At first, Karen laughed it off. "Publicity is still publicity," she muttered, tossing her phone aside. But by noon, the laughter stopped. News vans had parked outside her house, and angry strangers gathered on her lawn, shouting things like, "You're a disgrace! And Tyler deserves better!" One particularly feisty woman yelled, "Trade yourself for a hat next time!" Karen tried to save face, stepping outside in her best power suit. "I'm a visionary," she announced to the cameras, but her voice was drowned out by boos and laughter. A tomato narrowly missed her head. She ducked back inside, slamming the door. Meanwhile, across town, Congressman Mitch Hawthorne scrolled through his phone, horrified. The video of Karen's exchange had reached him, and it hit a nerve. Mitch, a proud Republican and fierce advocate for adoption, watched the clip again, focusing on Tyler's confused, teary face. "This isn't just wrong," Mitch said to his assistant. "This is evil." He wasted no time. By afternoon, Mitch was on the phone with the orphanage director. "I want to help that boy," he said, his voice firm. "What are the steps for adoption?" His assistant, used to Mitch's impulsive decisions, didn't even blink. "We'll start the process today." While Karen was busy drafting a tone-deaf apology post, Mitch was preparing a statement of his own. "No child should ever be treated as expendable. Tyler deserves a loving home, and I intend to provide it." The internet would soon have a new hero. And Karen? She was about to lose her last shred of control over the narrative. As Karen sipped her second overpriced latte of the day, she couldn't help but revel in her newfound notoriety. "Infamy is just fame with a twist," she told herself, scrolling through the memes. One particularly creative edit had her holding the MAGA cap like Simba in The Lion King. She chuckled. They wish they were this bold. Meanwhile, at the orphanage, the mood was anything but lighthearted. Mitch Hawthorne stepped out of his black SUV, flanked by his legal team, and an air of quiet determination. Inside, Tyler sat in a playroom, obliviously stacking blocks. Mitch knelt down to his level. "Hi, Tyler," he said softly, his tone warm but resolute. "How about we get you out of here?" The paperwork was expedited. Mitch wasn't just a congressman. He was a man on a mission. By the end of the day, Tyler was officially his son, complete with a shiny new backpack and a promise of stability. The media, ever hungry for a twist, ate it up. By evening, headlines blared. "Republican Congressman rescues boy abandoned for MAGA cap." Karen didn't see it coming. Reporters ambushed her at her doorstep, mics shoved in her face. "Karen, how do you feel about Mitch Hawthorne adopting your son?" one asked. Karen froze, eyes wide. "Adopted?" she sputtered, recovering just enough to deliver a hastily crafted lie. "This was the plan all along," she declared, forcing a smile. "It's a symbolic act of unity. Mitch and I are, working together." The reporters didn't buy it. Clips of her ridiculous statement went viral within hours. Comment sections roasted her mercilessly. "Karen playing 4D chess or just delusional?" one read. Another, "Tyler traded up big time." Meanwhile, Mitch emerged as the story's hero. News anchors praised his swift action, and internet users flooded his social media with applause. As Karen watched Mitch on TV, standing beside Tyler, she knew her moment had passed. She wasn't the star anymore. She was just a punchline. Karen's 15 minutes of fame came to a screeching halt when she was served with legal papers from the orphanage. The charge? Child abandonment. It was the headline of the week. Orphanage files suit against MAGA mom. The internet's favorite villain was officially back in the spotlight, but not in the way she hoped. The court hearing was a media circus. Cameras lined the courthouse steps, and the hashtag #MAGAJustice trended as clips from the trial surfaced online. Mitch Hawthorne, ever composed, took the stand. Dressed sharply in a tailored suit, he spoke with measured confidence. Tyler deserves stability, love, and a chance to grow up without being treated like a bargaining chip, he said, earning murmurs of approval from the crowd. Then it was Karen's turn. She strutted to the stand, visibly defensive. "I wasn't abandoning him," she began, her voice teetering between anger and desperation. "This was a lesson about resilience and independence." The judge raised an eyebrow. "You left a 6-year-old in an orphanage for a MAGA cap," he replied dryly. The courtroom erupted in laughter, and Karen's face flushed crimson. Predictably, the ruling didn't go her way. The judge handed down a hefty fine, mandatory parenting classes, and 200 hours of public service at the very orphanage she'd used as a pawn in her scheme. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed her. "Karen, any comments?" one shouted. Karen pushed through the crowd, muttering under her breath, "No comment." Meanwhile, Mitch and Tyler were thriving. They quickly became inseparable, attending baseball games, eating way too much ice cream, and even debating politics over pancakes. Tyler's cheerful smile started appearing on feel-good news stories with headlines like, "Second Chances, Tyler's New Life with Congressman Hawthorne." And Karen? Her punishment began with a bucket and sponge. Scrubbing graffiti off the orphanage walls, she heard a voice behind her. "Nice job, MAGA Mom," a passerby called, snapping a picture for Instagram. Karen glared but stayed silent, knowing the internet would never let her live it down. As she fumed, Mitch strolled by with Tyler, tipping his MAGA cap. The crowd cheered, Karen seethed, and the internet got its perfect ending.